Howdy y'all, I have another replay for you from LostCronus and PassionDuJeu. We'll call him Passion and LostCronus. LostCronus is a fairly high rated player. I want to say around Patriarch level. I don't know Passion, but I'm assuming he's also somewhere in the top 20. I feel like Passion is rated lower than LostCronus. But maybe just LostCronus played in my time zone and Passion did not. So we got a fire versus shadow. This is a random generated map. This is super unfair. Passion is playing fire. I really hope this is fire nature or another fire and not pure fire. But LostCronus should treat it as if it's pure fire. There's this ridiculous clipping opportunity. So if LostCronus is probably playing Lost Souls. One, because it's LostCronus and he plays Lost Souls, but also because he's Shadow, and it's a fairly safe assumption to guess that somebody would play Lost Souls if they're playing Shadow. Same as it's a fairly safe assumption to think that somebody's playing. Well, if there's clipping, you should always assume that a fire opponent is going to play pure fire, unless you know for sure that they're not. Just be safe, which is difficult because there's clipping all over here, lots of clipping opportunities. So there are ways around it, but LostCronus is going to have to play a whole lot better than Passion if he wants to win. Assuming Passion is a pure fire player. So one thing. Ooh, okay. So he's got this. Well, he's going to have to play super aggressive. Maybe get something like a phase tower. He needs to play stuff to prevent Passion from like tier 2ing and fire dancering. Assuming he's got a fire dancer. We'll see. Maybe he isn't. One thing that I'll do if I see a clipping map is I'll act like I'm pure fire, and I'll try and take this clipping position and stuff so that my opponents are afraid, and they're like afraid to get into this close wall encounter because they think I'm gonna fire dancer on them. And I totally don't have fire dancers in my deck. But bluffing is cool. Bluffing is totally allowed. We've got a tier 1 fight here. This looks fairly equal. It's hard to say he's gonna win. Probably this Dread Charger should run away. Ooh, he barely survived. No, he doesn't survive. Dread Charger probably should have run away. We've got Frenzy. No, we don't have Frenzy on Forsaken. I think he clicked him and then he accidentally didn't initiate. So, all in all, it's fairly even fight. My recommendation for... Okay, he does. He goes tier 2, and Passion also goes tier 2. And it is pure fire, so LostCronus is going to have to be super aggressive. He's going to have to be aggressive so he doesn't give Passion any power to be the aggressor. So, fire has problems dealing with large units because Gladiatrix is really the only counter, and there's no CC. So, Lost Reavers with Life Weaving maybe could be very strong against Passion. The problem is that Lost Reavers are not super popular with top players. Okay, interesting to note, this Fire Dancer is not upgraded all the way. So, just proof that you can win without upgrades. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if Lost Reaver's in LostCronus' deck, because Lost Reaver is sort of out of passion, or it's out of fashion with top players, or it was towards the end of the game. That lava field I think was questionable. I'm not really sure. I guess okay. So he dropped some stuff. He's gonna make these units regroup, but I think that was mostly a waste of power. Instead of a lava field, like another fire dancer probably could have done an equal job. Note that Passion can't just go all out and just spam fire dancers like he could if this weren't a Frost faction, because a Frost faction will save this world. So LostCronus is playing defensively. That's fine. Okay, notice the Drake is over the cliffs. That prevents the gravity surge from pulling him down. Good freeze when the Fire Dancer got in range so they can kill him. But yeah, the problem is there's not a ton of places to attack the Fire Dancer from, and the Wildfire will sort of stop them out. I feel like he should try to come over here and attack him, but maybe he tried and it didn't work. Fire Dancer healing with Ravage. I don't agree with that move. I think he could just pull the Fire Dancer back and spawn another one. Because I don't think the tempo is super important when you're playing against when you're playing against a Lost Souls player. I don't think the tempo is super important. Because, you know, it's Frost, so he can defend. So tempo is important, like you got an attack and you're about to drop the well. But, you know, if you're just sort of attacking here and there and you're not really committing anything, I think it's okay to drop one Fire Dancer back for 20 power more and just spawn another one and wait for it to heal up. Okay. This well is dropping so hard right now. So what LostCronus should do is spawn it at a Lost Reaver, ignore it, come over here and try and kill something. He didn't do that. Passion builds a well, he's going to defend now. LostCronus is very stuck. Instead of what I did, I suspect LostCronus is going to go tier 3. Okay, he does. He goes tier 3. Because Stonekin has a very strong... Not Stonekin. Lost Souls. Lost Souls has a very strong tier 3. And I'm assuming they're like 5 cards in tier 3. LostCronus is also... He has a reputation for being a tier 3 lamer. You can't blame him if he lames on this match because there were Fire Dancers, and Fire Dancers is kind of lame also. But regardless, LostCronus is doing what he can to win, and there are certainly scenarios where there's nothing wrong with what he's doing. He's still almost certainly going to lose. I say almost certainly. He's got chances. He's got chances. Like Cursewell could even this up, and no, he's got chances. Okay, he goes tier 3. Yeah, he does have Cursewell. And I think that Cursewell actually, if he loses, I think that Cursewell was a critical mistake that may have cost him the game. Instead of that Cursewell, this is going to be nasty. Silver Lancer should take care of it. But instead of that Cursewell, he should have spawned, what's he have? Shadow. He should have, so he's got no Tremors. He should have spawned an Ashbone Pyro instead of that and dropped this Fire Orb. Because once the Fire Orb gets up, now Passion just has, I guess he doesn't have a ton of power either. Both of them went tier 3 a little early, so they don't have a ton of power. But, Passion is just sort of doing better on power. So, for LostCronus to just take the well and run is basically saying that, like, I'm going to accept being a little bit better than you, and just, I'm going to outplay you in tier 3. Which maybe that's a viable strategy, because LostCronus does like to play most of his games in tier 3. So presumably he's better at tier 3 than an average player of the same rank as him, because he likes to spend more of his time in tier 3 than another player. So maybe this is a valid strategy. I don't know what the Skyfire Drake is doing. I guess he does get the Cultist down. I don't know what the Cultist Master was doing either. Okay, he's got power for a Juggernaut. This is going to be not as difficult for LostCronus to deal with as a lot of other decks, because I'm fairly certain LostCronus, actually we saw that there was a shield building in the deck earlier. So, shield building will be fine against this. Fire does have very good ways around shield building though, because Giant Slayers with their charge will do 1,000 damage each. So, if you get the shield whenever right after it refreshes, maybe like, I think it's like every 12 seconds, but right after it refreshes, if you double charge with the Giant Slayers, that will that'll drop them. That'll drop the well. But the Giant Slayers are dead. Okay, so there we go, yeah. He's used that shield building, but the Juggernaut is like, nope, I'm just gonna run away, and this guy should now go attack. But the Juggernaut is like, I'm just gonna run away and hit your other base. And how do you spend this sort of worthless 50 power? So Passion is definitely up on power. You can see it's like almost 500 in the void, whereas LostCronus is at 300 in the void. There's the Stampede again. Yeah, so Passion is sort of he's just hitting the power walls, and he's basically like accepting that this ice shield is gonna happen every time he tries to charge. So he's gonna like run around. Is he gonna make it? There's no way. This guy's so gonna die. Okay, he does die. That was a good lava field. He should, I think, kick out the Cultist Master instead of the... Okay, Eruption does work too. Now they should run. Taking this is risky, but I bet he's going to do it because he wants to heal his Giant Slayer. No, he's not. Okay. He's not going to play risky. I approve. There's no need to play risky when you already got an advantage. The longer this match progresses, the more Passion will get an advantage. He doesn't want the match to progress too long though, because at a certain point, it doesn't matter if you got like, you know, if you got like 12 void income versus 15 void income, is not a huge difference. But if it's like 7 void income versus 4 void income, that does make a difference. Where are they going? The enemy's this way. Grigori. Grigori. Oh, I hate you. Now, Grigori. Lost Grigori is, in my opinion, super lame. But I'm always playing against it, so my feelings might change if I played him. The Juggernaut is attacking the Grigori because as soon as the Grigori taunts, oh, not even that. He's just going to disintegrate him. So this guy should move and attack something. Incidentally, this Giant Slayer is also only U2. So the Grigori will probably die. Eruption will kill him. Eruption. Yeah. Okay. So instead of spawning that Giant Slayer, he should have erupted the Grigori. Oh, okay. And so what happened is that the Juggernaut actually stampeded the instant before the Grigori disintegrated him. So the stampede still went through after it ended.